All right. So we are glad you are joining us to Bust Housing Myths, a project of Vision for Equality. Vision for Equality's goal from its founding until today is for people with disabilities to live safe and productive lives and to assure that they are given every opportunity to gain full citizenship in their home communities. Housing myth busting is funded by Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council. This project underscores the significance of self determined choices for individuals with disabilities. As family members and individuals with intellectual and or developmental disabilities, including autism, we recognize that having a safe and stable place to call home is a crucial aspect of future planning. Our time is limited tonight, and the information shared will be general. These are some, but not all, ways to mitigate risk. People should seek professional advice to see what would work best in their own situation.
Please note that this information here does not take the place of advice from a professional. It is important to find a solution for your individual needs based on professional recommendations. This workshop is to help you develop plans to mitigate risk.
So, David Gates is our content expert. He has represented and worked with individuals with developmental disabilities, their families, and support groups in federal and state courts, administrative agencies, and the Pennsylvania legislature since 1976. He was a member of the Office of Developmental Programs Information Sharing and Advocacy Committee, as well as the project lead for the Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council grant on housing transition tenancy sustaining provider training. David was a project lead on the Urban Housing Option Demonstration Project and is currently consulting with us at Vision for Equality Bust Housing Myths Grant. He has participated in the development of 7 licensed residential microboards, a home owned jointly by 3 waiver participants, an apartment house developed with subsidized units, specifically with a preference for individuals with developmental disabilities and other family and self advocates directed housing models. He has presented at 25 workshops on housing options throughout the state since 2010. Vision for Equality employees that will be presenting this evening: Ernie Roundtree, Tina DiBiaso, and myself, Carrie Freeman.
Ni- Let's change the narrative from here are your choices to where do you want to call home?
Please note, these are some general solutions and not the recommendations of Vision for Equality or the Pennsylvania Developmental Disabilities Council. Every individual should seek professional evaluations, recommendations, and develop the skills to use the tools safely. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about reducing home crimes for vulnerable individuals, such as those with disabilities or the elderly, involving and implementing proactive measures to secure their homes, build awareness of potential threats, and create a network of support. Tonight, we will be covering some examples of strategies to help reduce home-related crimes. Please keep in mind that every individual, every home, and every situation is different. This workshop is meant to start a conversation that fits your needs and what works best for you.
In the following slides, we will be sharing images of physical home security enhancements. As we share tonight, please consider options in the context of protection, evacuation, and ability to use independently or the need for support. Double key deadbolts. Please consider dexterity difficulty may change seasonally. Each individual and their home should be looked at both from a safety from crime and safety and emergency to include fast evacuation, or a fast exit. Each individual um, should, if they choose this option, should let the fire department know. To reduce risk of entrapment, the key is to be in plain sight. Most leave the key in the lock. However, this is discouraged if the key is visible through the glass planes or around the door. This type of lock must be notated with clear directions in the emergency plan.
If I could just
This
mention
is,
something here.
go ahead.
Some municipalities actually require that the key be left in the inside lock. They actually have ordinances to that effect. So you might want to check that out.
Thank you. This is an example of a keypad entry. This has the video as well as the keypad entry. For the door jammers, this is another one to be used with caution. Each individual in their home should be looked at for both safety from crime and safety in the emergency, to include that fast exit and evacuation. There is a risk of entrapment. This needs to have a clear emergency plan for the evacuation, and if the individual can work these independently. An example of a door stop with an alarm: the door security peepholes. A peephole can be installed at any height to meet the needs of the individual. We mention the camera peephole option again shortly when we go over technology. It is important to find a peephole with the covering as well.
So let's talk about some smart home devices like smart locks or video intercom systems. These are smart home devices that help us to see who is at the door so we can screen visitors and be notified of who is at the door. Let's look at some examples. Smart door and window sensors can send notifications if someone is at the door unexpectedly. Ring doorbells with cameras can notify when someone is at the door. These smart home devices that help us to see who is at the door so that we can know safely to open the door or not. This is an example of a lock for a French door. This particular lock requires thinking and planning to pick the safest option for you. What can you use independently?
I am getting notifications again that people can no longer see the screen and the images being shared. Is anyone else having that issue?
No, I can see it fine. I wonder if they're having their internet access go in and out.
Okay. All right. Other people can see it. All right. So we're going to keep going. Sorry about that, Tina.
Sliding doors are very common in most homes, but sliding door safety is something that needs to be considered. Please consider both safety from crime and safety in an emergency to include a fast evacuation and exit. If the individual cannot work these locks independently and support is not present to help them, there is a risk of entrapment. Here's an example of a lock for a window, a sliding door, or a sliding window. A key lock requires dexterity and knowing where the key is at all times. Let's continue to look at more options. If you have a physical home security enhancement in place that we have not covered, take a minute and drop it in the chat so we can share it with everyone. Let's talk about exterior lighting and how important that is. Exterior lighting can be motion activated lights around the home, especially near doors that can be used to deter burglars. Smart lighting systems can be controlled remotely to give the appearance that someone is home even when they are not. And they are highly recommended when you leave your home for any length of time. What about fencing around your home? Perimeter fencing. Install fencing with lock gates to limit access to the home. There's a wide variety of fencing available. The goal is to ensure the fence is tall enough to discourage someone from climbing over the fence. Fencing can be a full perimeter of the property or partially around the entrance. There are also gate options for entryways to reinforce the front door of a home. Unlocking of the gate can be individualized to a key card, a keypad, a push bar, or even a remote opening device.
So we're going to start talking about technology-based security systems, as many of us have began to explore this as an option. There's a wide variety to pick from that meet the needs of all different homes and finances. We do not recommend any specific brand. Alarm systems are used to help reduce the risk of people coming into the home that do not belong there. Alarms can also be used to alert when an individual may be leaving. It is suggested to use a home security system with a very loud alarm. Make sure your security system has a panic button. Please look into connecting your system to a monitoring company or emergency service. This way, if the alarm goes off, they will be told right away and can send help. Alarms need to meet the needs of the individual. Ernie, can you think of a way that an alarm could meet the need of an individual without a hearing?
Uh, mm, wow, that's a good question. Um, the
What would happen with the lights
it
or
will
the
blink.
alarm?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
it blinks.
Yes, very good. So, and then what was also when we were talking about changing the batteries twice a year in some of these alarms, what did you and Tina say?
Spring forward, fall back.
Yes, that's when you suggested that everybody change those batteries in the those fire alarms, carbon monoxide alarms. The other thing that Tina mentioned was how well the water alarms work. That it's great to be placed next to toilets, bathtubs, sinks, and the washers. Um, I have used the stove alarms before. They alert when a burner has been left on. And then the smart ovens, they can be turned off remotely, but ovens are never to be used as a home heating source. Ernie, you mentioned that you don't have a doorbell security camera, but you had said that it might be helpful. When is a time that it might be helpful?
Uh, when when the pizza uh package is at the door, somebody's coming at the door. Also the when delivery guy comes at the door.
Hmm. And we also talked a little bit about outdoor security cameras. What did you think
Oh
about those?
yes. Oh, I think about something suspicious outside, like a burglar might be walking through, or an animal, a wild animal might walk through.
Mhm. So some things to consider with the outdoor security cameras. You're looking for something that has that storage capability. You're looking at something whether or not it needs to be connected to Wi-Fi, if it's battery operated in case there's a power outage. There's a few things and features that you'd want to take a look at that would meet your needs. Um, you had mentioned that you could see where an indoor security camera might be beneficial in someone else's home. You live in a studio right now, so that you had mentioned that it might be what for you?
It might My privacy.
Hmm.
My
But for
boyfriend,
another
my boyfriend's
individual,
dad has like those indoor security cameras too. There's one in the living room. I noticed like one day when I was there.
yes. Um, when could indoor security cameras be helpful?
When it sees a smoke on in the kitchen
Hmm.
or
Yes.
in front of the living room.
Yep. And some of them could actually show who's coming or going if it is something that's coming through the door unexpectedly. So you can see whether or not you recognize who it is that might have set off that alarm, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And please note that there is laws and regulations that surround indoor cameras.
So let's talk about some behavioral and skill considerations about being safe in your home. So here's an example of a simplified routine before going out or going to bed. You can see the 5 steps that are noted with pictures. Ernie, do you have a routine in your life that you use?
Absolutely. When I leave out the door, I lock the door behind me and make sure the door is locked when I go out. And when I come back in, I lock the door behind me. And before I go to bed, I shut off the lights, make sure the windows and shades are closed, and my phone is right next to me in case somebody calls.
That sounds like a really good safe routine, Ernie. Remember that every routine is different and it should be individualized to the person. This is just one example. Routines can be established with apps on a tablet or phone, by a list, or by use of different pictures as the one above. What's most important is that it works for the individual and that they use it. These icons and words on this slide are not where someone would want to start. But what we are stressing is the importance of having a routine based on where they live. It's also important, as Ernie noted, to charge your cell phone by your bed when you go to sleep so that you have it close by should there be an emergency in the middle of the night. What about visitors and strangers coming to your home? We talked a little bit already about technology like the Ring doorbell, but instead of a Ring doorbell, a friend can video call you to say that they are coming to your home and that they are close and then at your door. Or you can get text messages so that you know if a visitor is coming, or even a delivery service like a pizza service or a restaurant service, or a ride like Uber or Lyft. Utility workers, delivery people, law enforcement, first responders, and more also are required to carry identification with their picture attached. Make sure to verify their identity by calling the company itself before you allow them to come in your home. Let's see an example of someone safely answering their front door.
It is very important to never open your door to a stranger. If someone rings your doorbell, look through the peephole to see who it is. If you have a Ring doorbell or a similar device, check to see who it is. Sometimes doors do not have a peephole. If your door does not, what should you do if you are home alone and someone rings the doorbell? Sean, the doorbell's ringing. What should you do?
Okay. We did not allow people in the door. It is not said to open our door, period. I will do it in our doorbell and tip our door toward a knock.
That is correct. If it is someone you know, they can call you and let you know they are at your house ringing the doorbell.
Thanks, Sean, for modeling that example for us. Let's look at a couple other options for your front entry door. A peephole with a slide so that the peephole can be closed when you're not using it, a chain, or keeping the door closed at all times. Safety is an essential part of independent living. People will come to the door both expected and unexpected. Reinforced doors with peepholes to see who is on the other side without unlocking the door is a great option. Chains on doors give the opportunity to open the door slightly so that you can ask who it is or see their identification and credentials. As mentioned earlier, it is essential to verify their identity with the company or organization before letting them in your home. Remember, it is your home. You have the right to keep your door closed. Neighborhood watch. Meet and build relationships with your neighbors. Strong relationships can lead to periodic check-ins, and they are more likely to report any unusual activity around your home. It isn't always easy to meet your neighbors, especially when you first move in. Some apartments have social events that provide opportunities, but maybe there is a community room or community center near your home. Does your neighborhood hold yard sales or any other events throughout the year? Does it have a fitness center? Saying hello as you pass someone regularly could also open up the opportunity of getting to know your neighbors. Ernie, do you know your neighbors well?
Absolutely. First I introduced myself to them. Um, they even check to see if I'm okay. Um, if I haven't been outside, or they will my landlord, which is my neighbor, also calls to see if I'm okay.
So, Ernie, does that help you feel safer living in your home?
Absolutely.
Yes. Another great program to participate in is a neighborhood watch. This involves neighbors keeping an eye out for suspicious activity and sharing information. Police officers can periodically check on the home and the neighborhood and provide updates about local crime trends.
Reducing the risk of fraud and scams. There's a fantastic resource that we provided a link to that in this afternoon's email when we mailed out the slides for this presentation. Pennsylvania's Assistive Technology Foundation, Sense and Sensibilities. They devote a full chapter to identity theft. So, what makes a strong password? A strong password should be 8 characters long and include a mix of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Avoid using birth dates and names. When you create a user identification or a personal identification number known as a PIN for an account, make it something that will be difficult to guess. Please avoid using your birth date or a loved one's birth date. There are applications on your phone that can identify spam calls. Cell phone providers often offer a free scam blocking app. There are times when a scam call can still slip through, so please practice how to handle those calls. It is best to avoid giving personal information to anyone over the phone through email or at the door. It is very difficult to have one rule that fits every situation to cover personal information. My adult son had an online game that he regularly plays. It had an overnight update, and the following day it asked him for his date of birth. Thankfully, he asked me before he put in his date of birth, but it was a game with a reputable um, company, and it had a secure location for the date of birth. So it was something that he was able to put in. There are still times when I go to purchase something that I have to double check the website to make sure that it is a secure website before I'm putting in my credit card information. So this is truly learning and having someone you can go to that can help before you're sharing that personal information, because there isn't one answer for all of this. So with the spam calling, with the scammers, please don't accept unsolicited offers. Many times their home repair service, their charity donations, their financial schemes. Um, you can hang up and you can call the company directly on an official number. Oftentimes, scammers pose as friendly helpers or professionals. Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation, they are having a webinar on identity theft and scams, what everyone should know, on January 29th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Gabriel Smaglik, he's a big part of our work here at Vision for Equality, Bust Housing Myths. This message that he's about to share with everyone is a very serious one.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Spagler. I'm with Vision for Equality, and I'm here to talk about addressing safety concerns. I want to talk about, for example, playing video games online and like social media. There's people out there that can give themselves a sense of false relationships, friendships, and there's other things like they'll try to get your information. So, I mean, it's most importantly, keep any type of personal information private. And like your full name, your address, your birthday, your phone number, your social security number, anything like that. Because people can do identity theft where they steal your information and they, for example, buy something on Amazon that you didn't buy. You'll have access to your bank card. It can really do some major damage to you. And also keep in mind about going online because you want to keep your name and all address, stuff like that, all privately because you should not share that because they can end up stalking you. And also, the thing about being home alone, do not tell anyone that you're home alone because they could stalk you and they know your address. They could say they're coming over to hang out, but really you're going to steal your stuff. Also, don't let anyone have access to your webcam because they can try to get you major in trouble for doing something that you really did not do.
So as Gabriel was talking about the people having access to things that they shouldn't have access to or posing as friends under social media and things like that, um, he wasn't talking about a trusted person. He wasn't talking about someone that was truly known to him or his family. He was talking about somebody that had just developed something that he met online and casually played a game with that was asking for his personal information. So, and I just wanted to clarify that. So financial protections, again, set up that trusted contacts that people can help monitor those financial accounts and your banking transactions for unusual activity. Representative payee is a familiar term for those that have Social Security. And consider freezing credit reports for individuals to prevent unauthorized accounts from being opened in their names. You don't need to have a disability in order to freeze credit reports. It's something that we've considered doing for my mom, and we've spoken to her about doing that for herself. So there's fraud alerts that can be set up on bank accounts. RFID is a technology that lets devices scan your ID and credit cards without ever touching them. The RFID blocking wallets or sleeves stop thieves from scanning your cards and keeps your information safe. Make sure that you keep a copy of all your account numbers and passwords on it in a safe. A good place to also keep a copy of this would be in your go bag that we'll talk about later on. If you ask someone to get cards cash for you with your debit or credit card, always ask for the receipt to be sure that the amount you received is exactly the amount that they withdrew. Make sure to monitor your accounts by reviewing your bank statements online or when they come to you in the mail.
So let's talk about the importance of building a support network. Be known in your community. Community safety and supports do not end at first responders. Community supports include people in your community that recognize you, advocate for you, and can help you in an emergency or difficult situation. People from all walks in the communities can really help create a safety net. Familiar neighborhood faces can include the mail carrier, the UPS delivery driver. Anyone who knows the individual well can provide a safety net by noting if someone is out of place, someone answers the door who is not familiar, etc. So, Ernie, are you known in your community?
Yes.
And who are some
Uh,
of who are some of the people that know you well in your community?
my neighbors, they reach out to me in case something happens or if I have a package or something at the door. My Special Olympics friends and church friends.
So, do you feel safer in your community because you're known by a lot of people in your community?
Absolutely I am. Here is a video to mention my landlord is my neighbor, next door neighbor, and here it is. Hi, my name is Ernest Roundtree, but you could call me Ernie for short. I would like to share you a little of how I stay safe while I'm away and let my neighbors know that I'm safe. Usually, when it's time for me to leave out of town, my landlord passes through my place. So I let my landlord know that I am leaving out of town for a couple of days. We try to communicate with each other very well and let him know that I'm leaving out of town. Can he grab my mail if my mailbox is full and keep it safe? And he does it. Usually, when I'm away, I also get a package at the door sometimes. He calls and let me know I have a package. Um, so he makes sure it's safe until I come back. And when I come back, I get the package and my mail. Also, when I'm out of town, I usually let people know that of my family of choice know that I made it to the destination safely and when I'm back home safely. That's the few steps to get through this. And if I can do it, you can too. Try basic steps and you will get through it. Take care.
Great job, Ernie.
Regular check-ins by friends, family members, and caregivers can be really, really important to reduce the sense of isolation and help spot early signs of potential exploitation and abuse. Even though we use the term routine, we do encourage that individuals in a person's life know who is going and on which day they are going or checking in, but also encourage unscheduled check-ins and visits. Ernie, do you have someone that checks in on you?
Absolutely. My church friend calls me every morning. I look forward of talking to him every morning. We talk, we laugh, he checked to see how I'm doing, if I'm okay, if there's anything I need. Also I have my friends from Special Olympics I video call and we do prayers together.
That's great, Ernie. You really do have a great community surrounding you and helping to keep you safe in your home.
So, community resources. Find organizations or police programs that help keep people with disabilities safe. They might have advice or special programs you can join. Some police departments can visit your home to check if it's safe or to give tips on how to prevent crimes. Pay attention to news or updates from your town's emergency services so that you know what's happening and how to stay safe. Some communities have apps that will send notifications out if you've downloaded the application and have registered. So, emergency plans, they are of your choice. They can be simple, they can be complicated. The plan is personal, the plan is about you. The most important part of an emergency plan is being able to follow them, ensuring that you know them, and ensuring that someone else knows your plan too. We do suggest that you use something similar to this. This is a very efficient resource if you want a good way to create a plan for yourself. Um, it's created by Temple's Institute on Disabilities and it was edited by Caitlin McKenna, a self advocate. Keep this in your to go bag as well as a copy at your friend's home, your family's home with your supports coordinator, maybe a copy at your desk at work, maybe in the vehicle you use the most, wherever you spend a majority of your time and you may need it. This full PDF was sent in today's email. If for any reason you did not receive the presentation slides, this form or the premise form, please drop your email in chat and I will get those emailed back out. Please check your junk folder on your email. They were emailed this afternoon. So in continuing with emergency plans, sometimes we limit examples of emergencies maybe to a flood, a heart attack, or to blood. We do have to go deeper, and it can be going into a car accident, or maybe you smell gas, or the inability to wake someone. So, thinking through what those emergency is and how to identify different types of emergencies. Ensure individuals' safety before calling 911, such as if the home is on fire, ensuring they go to that designated meeting spot and then call 911. When calling 911, those calls are tracked, but it is best to have your address maybe in the notes of your phone that you know how to get to. Maybe it's written in multiple places that are easily accessible. If you do call 911 by mistake, do not hang up. Wait for someone to answer and admit that it was a mistake. You can't predict all possible emergencies, but you can list people to contact for assistance with those emergencies. So as a team, we developed these 4 breakout questions. Know how to identify a medical emergency, know how to contact emergency services, know what to do if someone is breaking into your home. And Ernie, the last one on this slide would be,
When you are in an unsafe situation and need help.
and we agreed that that one is a little, probably the most tricky of all of these.
Absolutely.
So knowing what to do when the power goes out, Ernie's going to go over an emergency go bag in a little bit, and we'll talk about the shelter in place kit, know how to respond appropriately in a natural disaster. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more here about those meeting places for various emergencies. So the first location for your meeting place should be within your home. If there's a tornado, knowing that what room in the house that you would go to. Ernie, in a tornado, where do you go in your home?
There's there's the cellar.
Perfect. Yes. Then in your neighborhood, so if there's a fire or a smell of gas and you have to leave your home, you're going to want to identify somewhere in your neighborhood, and that's usually someone's driveways. It has to be a place that you feel comfortable. If you are very comfortable with somebody in your neighborhood that's not within your building, it might be a neighbor that you have a key to their home. It all depends on the comfort level, but it would be a place that other people would know. The next thing is if it's more regional to your neighborhood, you would be moving outside of your neighborhood, but headed towards maybe the town library, maybe the grocery store, something that has enough parking, but making sure that you have multiple locations that based on the emergency for why you are evacuating or leaving that area. Ernie, do you want to talk about emergency go bags a little bit?
Oh, sure. You can use that bag in various ways, to in case of an emergency such as natural disasters. Also there are other items that you can put in there, such as supplies for your pets. They're children too. Um, Paper cups, paper plates, disposable utensils, paper towels. Um, my personal favorite, the toilet paper. Um, making sure where the fire extinguisher is. Um, more
And some of
supplies. Yeah, yeah.
hit on some of the things on the slide too.
Your medications. Eyeglasses. Emergency plan. You always have to have an emergency plan and emergency contact. Make sure you have cash and change and put it in there. A sleeping bag to sleep in. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
So does everybody's go bag look the same?
a lot of people's go bags are different.
Yep. So individuals' bags will vary. All right, the shelter in place kit. So this is just one example of a shelter in place kit, because maybe it's unsafe to go outside. So maybe you need to put plastic sheeting over the windows or something like that because of a chemical or toxic fumes. Um, a couple a couple years ago in our area, our we had power lines that were down, and they asked us to stay home for roughly 36 hours. So it was nice to have the flashlights and the extra blankets and stuff. Thankfully, we were within our own homes. Ernie, can you tell us a little bit about your emergency contact list?
Yes. So in my emergency contact list, I have my families of choices and people that I trust, circle of trust, and usually with the contact list, you always have to have your landlord have it in case something happens, or your neighbor. You can put it in a bag. I also put it in the drawer in case
Which
something happens.
which bag?
The go bag.
Perfect. So does your sports coordinator have a copy of your emergency contacts?
Absolutely, she does.
All right. And the reason why your landlord has a copy of your emergency contacts is because he's your what?
Neighbor and neighbor.
Yes. All right, so this is just another example of emergency information. This one is one that I included because we are talking about housing, and down at the bottom under the orange, this one has where the first aid kit is located, where the breaker panel is located. As Ernie mentioned, that fire extinguisher, where can you find that? Where's the gas on and off valve, the water on and off valve? And do you have emergency cash? So that is one of the reasons why I included this one just as an example.
You're on mute, Tina.
Oh, I knew I would do that at least once. So many people with disabilities and many people that are elderly that live alone at home have staff that come into their home and help care for them. So let's look at some of the safety considerations around in-home care. Screening caregivers before they are hired is critically important. Here's some tips on how to do that. Interview more than one agency. Gather personal experiences from family, friends, people in the community of agencies or people that they have used. Always ensure that all workers, before they are hired and start working, undergo complete background checks. So how do we know if an agency is reputable? You can also ask, besides asking your family and friends, ask them about specific agencies and individuals, and possibly use a support broking agency or support broker that's working for themselves. Go to support groups and ask questions, check reputations. Interview support brokers before you use them, but have a clear list of what you want them to do or what help you want from them before you interview them. Be very specific. Have you ever had experience recruiting or training your own staff? Think about what you are looking for when you are interviewing someone, but also remember that it is not 100% that you will get someone that will get it right. If you self-direct your services, do consider a supports broker to assist with all of the aspects of hiring staff, including the screening and criminal background checks. Cameras or nanny cams can monitor the caregivers while they are providing care in your home, which will give you some peace of mind. But it is very important to familiarize yourself with the laws surrounding video monitoring. How important is it to rotate care providers? If possible, avoid relying on just more than one individual for care. That can help reduce the risk of exploitation. And having multiple caregivers ensures that only one person does not have total control over the individual's well-being and finances. Ernie, can you think of any other reasons why you would want to have rotating caregivers or multiple caregivers?
Because in case they get sick, they can't
Right.
make it in.
Right, that's a great example, because if you only have one caregiver and they're sick for a couple days or even a week, you now have no one to provide that care. So that brings us to the importance of having a backup plan. It is critically important to have a backup plan. A qualified support service professional is someone hired and trained by either a managing employer or common law employer, already familiar with the individual receiving services. With the traditional agency model where you use a provider, the individual covering the shifts may not be as familiar to your family and may need a certain amount of training or support before the scheduled backup shift. We are all using the term natural and unpaid supports interchangeably, but truthfully, there will nearly always be a need for unpaid supports in everyone's life. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have natural supports all of the time. It is something that many of us as family members and self-advocates need to build and cultivate. What is important to remember is that asking for help is not failing. Sometimes we just need 20 or 30 minutes of backup coverage. There may be folks that can do that. That could not do a shift or even maybe 2 hours. But in the meantime, we all need to try and cultivate resources and create possibilities. It's not easy, and we are not trying to imply that it is. Our intent here is to look at ways to create workable, safe backup plans for families and individuals while still meeting the responsibilities and requirements of participant direction. So Ernie, if your staff, say, got the flu and couldn't come for a week, What does your backup plan look like? Do you have any natural supports that could fill in?
My coach that will fill in for me.
Your coach from
Whatever.
Special Olympics?
Yes.
That's great. That's great. So let's take a minute and look at the one-page description from the Life Course Tools. If you need help on what to include in each section, we've given some information here. This is a really helpful tool around safety. The first area we want to look at is what people need to know about me. That would include the emergency contact, the phone number for the emergency contact, and any diagnosis or communication needs for the individual. The second section in orange, what is most important to me? This could include personal items of importance, how to keep me calm, distracted, and happy in an emergency, things I like and things I don't like, what makes me anxious, scared, or unhappy, and who is important in my life. The third section in blue, how people can best support me in an emergency. And this is really, really important for everyone, not just people with disabilities. Loud noises and sirens and how you react to them. What to do if you're anxious. Oh, the individual shows pain. Mobility needs and or hearing needs. Sorry.
No
And
worries.
can the individual be left alone?
Thank you, Tina. So, Ernie,
Yes.
so one of the things on the one-page description, we just covered the go bag. So
Yes.
we might need to bring a go bag with us.
Absolutely we do.
Okay. And then maybe we need to go to a shelter. So we might need to share some information about what's important and how to best support us if we're unable to bring our staff with the shelter.
Yes.
But most likely we would want to be able to bring our support staff if at all possible, because they do want to support us, correct?
That's
So
correct.
so some things that I forgot to mention when we were going over the go bag that I um, is how to get those medications in the go bag. So to order refill, when we order refills on medications, as soon as the insurance company approves them, often they'll renew 2 to 3 days early. And you put those medications in the proper containers that are still labeled until you have 7 to 10 days built up. But after 6 months, you need to go ahead and start over and replace those with fresh ones from new refills. Of course, you're keeping them again in the correct bottles so that Cross can help get refills if you need them beyond that week or 10 days. So for medications on the go bag, we forgot to talk about how you go ahead and you make sure that those are correct and they're there. If you need eyeglasses, you can keep your old pair in your go bag as a backup, because having them is better than having nothing at all. Um, is there anything else on this one-page description that you want to highlight?
Um, uh, this was one of my favorite ones, the one page description, because it's talking, what people need to know about me. It, the law enforcement, how they have to know about me, that I have a disability, that I probably need help with these things.
Thank you, Ernie. So staying connected to law enforcement. So there are many different ways to use a cell phone. Not everyone is comfortable or capable of a phone call. Some prefer to use text messages, some talk to text, some like video calls. Being able to use the cell phone based on the individual's preferences and having a preset option for an emergency should be considered. Please report crime. Being a victim of a crime can feel overwhelming, and it is normal to experience emotions like fear, shame, or even worry about retaliation. However, it is important to remember that being a victim is never your fault, and there are people and organizations ready to support you. Vision for Equality and Voices Rising for Justice, with a commitment to raise awareness to the issues of abuse and neglect against people with intellectual disabilities and autism in the disability system. There are local disability programs, advocacy programs, and police programs that have resources to help you feel safe and empowered. You do not have to face being a victim of a crime alone. Support is available to guide you through recovery and help you reclaim your sense of safety. Please report crime. As we touched on previously and went over Neighborhood Watch, officers can periodically check on a home and provide updates about local crime trends. Smart 911 is throughout all of Pennsylvania, but not always available. You can use their zip code finder to see if it's available where you live. Smart 911 is not just for people with disabilities. It is an online registry with protected space to enter personal information such as diagnosis, assistance needed in an emergency, where the shutoff valves are for gas or water, and information on pets. Pictures are able to be uploaded too. First responders are notified when a 911 call goes in that someone with a disability or someone who needs assistance or a pet is in the home. Premise alert request form is what this is going over. This was also emailed out today along with the PowerPoint slides. This is person-specific information for first responders. This is a form that can be filled out and it can be taken to your local police department. So before we get to wrapping up, we did have an opportunity in chat to see if anyone was using anything else for their safety that they wanted to share. We did have somebody put in chat for me. I'm going back through. Did you have anything come through?
I did not.
Why there are okay, so we just hadn't covered it yet about cameras that you can talk through. Yes, I was asked again about slides being sent out. Those will be sent out. Okay. All right. So by implementing the strategies, vulnerable individuals can reduce the risk of home-related crimes while feeling more secure in their homes.
So thank you, everyone. Please take the time to answer this survey. This is not a Vision for Equality survey. This survey is from the Pennsylvania Developmental Disability Council and is outside of our control. However, once you get through the beginning questions that are demographic, you have the opportunity to give us feedback on tonight's presentation, which is very helpful as we plan for the future. You can use your cell phone to scan the QR code and take the survey.
A link to the survey was also sent in the email that was distributed earlier this afternoon. If for any reason you did not receive the email this afternoon, please put your email in chat.
You can reach us at 215-923-3349 or email us at www.visionforequality.org. or email us at grant@visionforequality.org. And thank you again for joining us tonight. And we're very happy you guys came tonight.